So what's going on, people?
Iron Maiden.
Christmas was great. Oh wait,
Christmas, yeah.
That was the loneliest Christmas I've ever spent.
No one coming over.
Yeah.
Did you even
There's
cook
nobody in my
anything?
house.
Like, usually there's a big meal you got to cook, or at least me. I usually help make the whole big family feast. None of that this year.
Last Christmas was the most normal Christmas of all of you guys for me. Does that make sense?
No.
I don't do anything for Christmas, so
Yeah.
so I didn't again this year. And
I have a
like
question for Tim. I was talking to Tiff before, and she's on this group on Facebook, and it's like, I don't remember what the group is. Anyway, like it's a bunch of wives, and there was a whole thread about how none of their husbands do anything in their stockings. They have to fill their own stockings every year.
Wait, what? The women have to fill their own stockings?
Yeah, isn't that bullshit? Like,
yeah, that's crap. I put stuff in Pam's stocking.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like I put
like it's crap. Like they're lying.
No, like they're not doing anything for their wife.
That's weird.
I mean, I don't know that I do the stocking shit. I mean, I spend fuck tons of money on her in presents.
You don't put anything in her stocking?
I don't even. We've been talking about this because we've got stockings for the kids. I don't think that her and I have. Stockings.
Well,
I don't think we ever started that. You know,
I think Tim and I came from a home where everyone had a stocking and everyone's stocking.
Same here.
I definitely had that, but you know, I've never given a shit about. I mean, let's say, what do you get
after you're done?
You get a bunch of like chocolates and
tiny
like
little gift cards.
Oh, I guess
gift cards. Who the fuck gives a gift card for a loved one?
Well,
You know what fits in a
stocking?
stocking? Blu-rays and video games fit in stockings.
Toiletries.
Yeah, but I mean, a video game, for Christ's sake, I'm wrapping that shit. That shit costs like, my kids are getting a Switch this year.
You can.
Oh, I should shut the fuck up because
they're getting a Switch.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, they're getting a Switch. But
wait, they already know what they got.
We're pretty sure they know that they're getting that. But one way or another,
they're getting that from Santa.
Oh no! I put my fucking foot down.
I remember those days. We would have those little discussions about like, this is not from Santa.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I paid $300 for this thing. This doesn't come from Santa.
Santa bought you that shitty piece of candy.
But the whole thing is his best friend. His best friend bought himself a Switch. You know, his 7-year-old best friend.
It doesn't make sense.
You know,
what is that kid doing for chores?
Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, he saved his money for 2 years to buy the goddamn thing. So no, he's not going to walk over to that kid and be like, "Yeah, Santa gave it to me," and that kid be like, "I got socks."
I don't think you should
especially with this. I mean, with this year, with everybody being out of work and all that shit. The last thing I want is my son telling some kid that Santa treated him like a fucking king when they're lucky they're eating. So
speaking of king, I should play this as the intro.
Harry King.
Yes.
Screw our regular intro.
Can we play the whole thing? Or are we allowed?
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Oh yeah. I haven't heard this in a long time.
I didn't realize the intro was so long.
I gotta learn this. Gotta get Navi to sing this.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome to Somewhere in Time Podcast. SomewhereInTimePodcast.com is where you find us online. To our other stuff there, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all of our episodes streaming there. So yeah, we're back. and we're talking about Iron Maiden. But before we get into that, we do some introductions here. I'm Eric. We've got Tim here.
Hello.
We got Joe here.
Hi.
Keith is here.
Mother.
And we have a special guest this episode. So we're very happy to welcome back to the episode. We had him on once before. He's in pretty much every band in the local DC metro area. Eyes of the Nile. You're gonna have to help me out here, Chris, because let's see, Eyes of the Nile, and then there's the Beatles tribute, which is Nowhere Men, and you've got Dr. Fu, and you've got hair metal, and you do stuff with a Navy band as well.
The Navy band is my real job.
Well, that's your actual job, yeah. So
that's my actual job.
Yes, that doesn't really.
Yeah, and then there's the bands, and then all the stuff outside of that, classical stuff.
So yes, we'd like to welcome Chris DeChiara back to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I feel like I'm Saturday Night Live. You're the second, like the first. I'm not the first, probably, but like the second appearance on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe like after a couple of years, I'll get like a bathrobe or something.
I think you're the second appearance, right?
Second appearance, what?
I think you're the second appearance. If that means anything.
Oh, really?
To you. Yeah.
Well, I'm insulted.
That's top three.
That's top three.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that's right.
Bronze.
Sweet.
Well, one of them
had to have you.
was
Go ahead.
was Craig Cicero was one of those.
Oh, so you're fourth. Never mind.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You're off the podium.
It's worse and worse. No presents for Christmas.
He's like our top shelf guy.
I forgot
though,
the
so.
I forget the one famous guy.
Yeah.
So, but we had to have you on this for this episode because this is we're talking Iron Maiden 40th anniversary. Yeah, well,
nothing else.
It's it's the first album. It's Clive Burr, and I know you're a big Clive fan. So I wanted to get you on here for that for sure. So yeah, this is obviously it's the 40th anniversary of the debut. I mean, it's the 40th anniversary really of Maiden when you think about it. It's the first album, and I know they formed in like 77 or something like that, but
75, bud.
Sorry, bud.
You had the book.
I do. I'm reading it. But yeah, so let's play a little bit of this.
I hope you've gotten to that part already.
Yes.
Are you still in Steve Harris's high school years?
I have a very I'm like Dory from Finding Nemo. I have zero
Just
I can't recall anything.
Yeah.
Short-term memory. See, I can't even remember what short-term memory is. All right. Let's play a little bit of this.
I bet Dory turned out to be a real jerk of a boss.
Lightning hands.
Yeah.
All right. I can't play the whole song, but
Boo.
What is that? Do you always think of Metallica when you hear that, Eric?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Wow. Really?
Do you know why, Chris?
Yeah,
No.
why?
No one else knows why?
They used to play part of that. They used to play the intro, right?
Yeah, on the Justice tour, they'd come out for the first encore, and they'd come out playing that song. And they'd play up to the chorus, and
Are you
then
serious?
yeah. When
I saw them on that tour. I don't even remember that.
they didn't always do it.
Oh.
Not every time, but often they did.
Yeah.
did the cover for the Kerrang album too. They kind of did a version of this and Remember Tomorrow.
Yeah, Remember Tomorrow was a really good cover.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't sound just like it. This is the first time. Well, there's a remaster that I got, the remastered version of the album, and on iTunes.
That's what I played. Yeah.
You can now on some of the newer songs read the lyrics easily. While it's like,
yeah, it's
probably not the safest thing to do, but I can kind of peek while I'm driving because it's close to where my eyesight is, and they're big because they know people are doing that, and so I never read the lyrics full all the way through because the tape didn't have the lyrics.
Right.
And what is this song? He's like a pervert. Is that what his deal is?
In the veto, it says, this is about like some kind of stalker perv.
I didn't know that. Like, okay, that's a weird way to start your whole band's career.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they didn't realize that.
I get maybe in London in 1980 it wasn't such a big deal. It was maybe they laughed it off. Oh, he's taking the piss.
What is the equivalent of taking the piss of being a pervert? Who knows? In England. Well, we should introduce the band here, right? So on vocals,
I guess so. Considering this one isn't really the same as most.
Yeah, this one. The only lineup. This is the only album that features this lineup.
It's the most different.
Yeah. So Paul Di'Anno, obviously lead vocals. Steve Harris on bass, of course. Dave Murray guitars. So the Steve Harris, Dave Murray. That's consistent. But then you got Dennis Stratton on guitar, and Clive Burr on drums. So,
yep.
And
they have a lot of Dennis Stratton in that early years interview. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so one of my notes was the guitar work on this album, while very good, the solos are at times a little sloppy. And I mean, it's the first album, so it's not kind of be expected. But I just feel over time their solo work has got much improved. And I don't know, like I didn't dissect it enough to know which is Stratton and which is Murray. So usually Murray is more he uses a, I don't know, term, but the pickup he uses is a little different. It's a little more, the tone is a bit different on his solo. So I can usually tell which ones are his, but I couldn't really tell in this album. So
Stratton does play some solos.
Maybe he doesn't on this one.
He does. Harris didn't like his solo playing on the faster songs.
Yes, I think the rest of the band agreed with Harris that
Stratton he liked playing the slower, more melodic stuff.
His style didn't fit. Let's face it, he didn't last too much longer.
No, he didn't.
They opened for Kiss on this tour, and at the end of that was the end of.
And I had that poster on my wall. It was like one of those import kind of things. It was massive poster. It was yellow, and of the front cover.
Yeah,
like when they opened for Kiss, it had like the dates and like forget what language, but I have to tell you this stupid story real fast, if you don't mind. So when I was in grad school at New England Conservatory, I lived in this apartment across the street, and tiny little shithole, and I had that poster up in my apartment. So outside of the school, there's like these two big cases where they put promotional posters for concerts. And, they're just big glass cases that are standalone. And, they change them every now and again for upcoming concerts.
Sure.
And I'm like, I need to get that Iron Maiden poster in one of those cases.
Yeah.
Somehow. And I need to take a picture of it.
That would be awesome.
So I had someone open that for me, put the poster up, and it was up there for a day in front of New England Conservatory of Music. Like right where their concerts are promoted, big ass Iron Maiden poster of the front,
awesome.
Oh, that's
the
awesome.
first cover. And I have to find that picture somewhere.
That's hilarious.
I took a picture and I don't know where it is, but
that's fantastic. We should talk a little bit about this album artwork because it's not definitely not your typical Eddie, but of course Eddie had many iterations at the beginning.
Did you read the story in the book yet, Eric, about this?
Yeah, well, I know about like the different designs they had during their first shows.
Eddie the Head.
I don't remember the details, but I think Steve Harris saw the drawing by Derek Riggs, but it was originally like he had a mohawk, the Eddie.
Right.
It wasn't even Eddie yet, but
right.
He had a mohawk, and Harris asked him if they could use that, but he could make the hair long to make it look like a metal guy.
Yeah, it started as like just a mask.
Yeah, it was like a mannequin thing that they got.
Yeah.
It was like a little.
Well, the artwork it wasn't.
Well, the drums and they had the blood coming out. That was light bulbs. You know, if you saw that interview with the light guy,
and little marquee light bulbs around the.
Yep. Yeah. Very old school.
Yeah.
And then
I think they had flashing eyes at one point, and then it had the blood that came out during Iron Maiden, the song Iron Maiden. Yeah. And that, of course, evolved into Eddie.
Eddie the Head.
Because they pronounced the head like
Ed.
Ed, E-A-D, yeah. Eddie the Ed.
And so it doesn't look like a Derek Riggs Iron Maiden.
No, it doesn't. I mean, Killers is really the first time that it looks.
The Eddie yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the right guy.
Right.
Have you seen the 1988 remaster?
Yes.
Cover?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's weird looking for sure.
Was it 88 or 98?
98. I'm sorry. Yeah. And it looks like
that one. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's very scrawny, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. He's definitely a young, starving Eddie.
Yeah.
Looking for Margaret Thatcher.
That's right. But I don't know if there's a story of Eddie. It seems like when I was younger, it seemed like there definitely was. Like he went through an evolution where it was like, because life after death, he died and then he came back to life. The life after death. That's what I assumed as a kid. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I'm
sure there's a canon behind him that
I'm sure there's some sort of lore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever look for the Derek Riggs autograph initials on every album?
No.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would seek those out. I think I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find it on every cover. Really? The most obvious one probably is Power Slave, but I think it's right on his like anus or something. Not his anus. His
butt. There's an anus on
sorry. On his groin, like right above the passage to get into wherever it is. There's his.
Got a mangina.
It's his pubic hair.
Too bad that
I signed my name with
TV. I can't really see. I can't see the crotchal area. No. There is a snake coming up too, so maybe he's both.
I think you can see it on Somewhere in Time pretty clearly too, right? If I remember correctly.
I think so.
Just pull it up on the computer too. That would be easier.
Some are pretty obvious. I'm looking at Live After Death. I forget where it is on this.
I mean, that's in preparation for this one. I was kind of thinking about what the hell. I mean, what is there to say? I mean, this is like the first fucking Maiden album. This is I mean,
I have a question.
Yeah, sure, the production isn't as good a quality as a lot of the other stuff, but I mean, this is just an entire thing of classics. Like, I mean, we can always get into the whole old school, like, oh, was Di'Anno better than Bruce? And no, he fucking wasn't. Anybody, shithead that comes up with that kind of comment is a dumbass. But,
But I would rather hear Paul sing some of these songs than Bruce singing them.
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, I definitely love
I've heard
how
Bruce
he sounds, but Bruce overall
I think I've
is
heard
the better
him sing
vocalist.
I like
Strange World's the only one that they haven't played live. Of course, not Transylvania.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't sing on that song, but Strange World's the only one that he hasn't performed with them live. Bruce.
but not that Di'Anno's bad.
No, in fact, good. I always liked Bruce better, and I was introduced to Maiden with Bruce. So I never really went back to listen to these albums that often. So I kind of had a new appreciation for Paul Di'Anno listening to this album fresh for first time in a very long time. Like
I just
mentioned Strange World. That's actually a really good song, vocal wise. Like I'm not, it's not a great song in my opinion. I think it's okay. But vocal wise,
I like it a lot.
Performs really well.
Well, are we going to go song by song? Because I have.
We'll get there.
Okay.
What's your question? Go ahead. Shoot.
What is that song? Is he a vampire in that song? Is that what's going on? Because again, this is the first time I've been reading the lyrics.
Oh, it's a weird one.
Songs.
Plasma wine. I used to think he said pass the wine, but then I was plasma wine. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, that is weird.
Well, can I pose a question to you guys before we get into to the songs,
yeah,
like on their own. What at what point in your Maiden fandom did this album like come into like your possession or your rotation? Because it was a little bit later for me. I knew a bunch of the songs from the live album, at some of their live albums, but I don't know if I got this. I can't remember the year, but I feel like it was pretty late.
Definitely late for me. I mean,
collecting of their albums.
I'll let Chris go. Looks like he's got something to say.
Oh, yeah. Well, first. I remember actually growing up on this album. I had it. I listened to it in the early 80s. I vividly remember sitting in my friend's mother's car. She used to take me and my friend Steve to the store called Rocket Records. Mm-hmm. And it was this place in Saugus, Massachusetts. There's also one in Nashua, New Hampshire, where they had tons of import records. And we always wanted to go there and buy the weird shit and the B-side for $20 that we never heard before. Right. But I remember I would just sit in the back seat and I would listen to cassettes. And I remember vividly listening to this tape. And this was like 82, 83.
Oh, wow.
So
most metal.
Come on, you look like you're our age.
I'm old.
You're probably Tim's age, I imagine.
Oh, I'm not old though. Yeah, so for me, that Paul was the beginning for me, but it kind of blended together. I didn't get so addicted that when Bruce came along, it was like this big thing. It was just, oh, he was the other singer, and I didn't know any of the history or anything. It was just, they all kind of melded together in a way.
Right. Well, there was no internet back then either, so you couldn't really be up to speed on like the latest news on these metal bands. You had to rely on magazines and things like that. So
I don't know exactly when this came out when I was listening to it, but it was probably about a year or two after.
Wow. Definitely not the case for me.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Were the band members even listed on the
I don't think so. Because
I don't either. Because I couldn't figure out who was in the band when I had Killers and Power Slave were the first two I bought at the same time. And I'm like, I don't think that's the same singer.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. And I wanted to figure it out, but I had no way of like,
I think I had the same reaction because my first album from them was Live After Death.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That was kind of not fair because that's like live albums are by default kind of just best ofs.
Yep.
So you got this like all these great songs. You're like, oh my god, this band's amazing. It's really not fair to have that as your first. Plus, it was Bruce, and then you go back.
Right. So they're playing all these songs from the first two albums, right?
Yeah. And then you hear the originals, and you're like, this doesn't even sound like the same guy. And what is going on? And then the production's weird. And then I was 14 or 15, whatever I was, 14, I guess. And so I mean, it makes a difference where you come in with this stuff, especially.
Yes, definitely.
And it's a big deal. When your first step into the stuff, whatever you hear first makes a huge impression, and then from then on, that's kind of where it goes.
For me, that was the whole thing. Like, I was the guy collecting the Anthrax and the Suicidal. My brother was the guy with the Metallica collection and the Maiden collection. So he's the one who ended up buying this stuff, and I'd end up, grabbing from him. But I know the first album we ever got was Somewhere in Time, and then Live After Death, and then I think Killers, which is, so I don't even know when the hell it was that I finally heard this album. And that's all. I mean, for me, I didn't even realize who the hell Dennis Stratton was until like 2002. It's like guitarist for Iron Maiden. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it's always been Dave Murray and Adrian Smith. What?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like what?
Yeah.
Right, because for when we were kids, you couldn't just go get any album. You couldn't just complete your collection. You had to haunt the record stores and be like, what do they have this week?
Yeah, when you went to buy a record, you didn't know what you were going to buy. You knew what bands you were going to look for, but who knew what the hell album you were going to end up walking out of there with?
You had no idea. Which was fun in a way.
Now you just search.
Yeah, now it's ridiculous.
It was a lot of fun.
It was really cool. especially if you didn't know something was coming out and you're like, oh my God, they have a new album out. Holy shit. Which
I'm still kind of like that,
though. That sometimes backfired, unfortunately. There were a few times where you're like, what the hell is this?
Yes, it did.
Looking at you, Overkill.
I'm looking at you, Danzig.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Iron Maiden.
Where did they come in? Where did this album come in for you, Eric?
Huh?
Who? What?
Nothing.
When you said Iron Maiden.
Oh, well, yeah, a little bit, actually.
Well, actually, yeah. No Prayer for Dying. That was
and Fear of the Dark.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, after that.
Well, I mean, everyone was.
Eric, what for you though? What
Except,
did you like first hear this? Kind of like the same time Tim did.
It was basically the same time as Tim. Basically, I don't
86.
Okay. I don't like I said. I rarely would even go back to listen to this album. Like I when I listened to Maiden, it was always like anything from number least forward.
This wasn't a big go-to one for me either. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So because
I like the songs.
Yeah. Again, it's just because I prefer Bruce as a singer. So I would either listen Live After Death or,
Well, but I loved Killers, and this one I did not go back to as much.
I see. I'm the opposite.
I'm the opposite
Killers
too.
Is garbage.
Me too.
And this one is much.
I don't think Killers is garbage. I just think song wise, I think this album is much better.
Yeah.
Me too. I agree.
The singer thing never mattered to me for some reason. Like I never thought of one as being. I mean, Bruce obviously technically much better singer, but it never was like a big deal to me. It was almost like it was. I don't want to say two different bands, but I don't know. They were like two different Iron Maidens, and they were both just as good to me. Not just as good, but it just didn't matter.
There is definitely more.
I think, Chris, I couldn't agree with you more on that point because it's. I mean, that's the one thing. Like normally, when you think of say like Neil Turbin and Anthrax, like you don't even want to acknowledge.
Oh, I actually hate John Bush's voice.
You're crazy.
Sorry, I don't know why. It drives me nuts.
You just stabbed him in the heart. That's like his favorite singer.
I don't get it. I don't know why. He's a great singer, and I know people love him. And I'm like, why? I still don't like it. In any band he's been in, I'm like, ugh, something about it.
Sound of White Noise is one of Anthrax's best albums. Period.
And Naveed keeps telling me too, and I listened to it, and I was just like, eh.
One way or another, though, I would say though, changing a vocalist is always an enormous thing that kind of can totally disrupt the band. And this one change, like, I mean, there are people that argue that Di'Anno is even better, and so on and so forth. But one way or another, I think that this is one of the very few times that it wasn't too big of a deal that they made the change.
Well, also his voice did fit some of these songs better. Like they were more like punky and not punky, but they were kind of just straight up rock.
Steve Harris.
Just straight up
rock.
He
hates punk. Yeah.
Well, I actually wanted to bring that up. Unless you have I know you have an agenda, but like the whole punk thing, because a lot of people say this was definitely more punk. They use the term punk a lot for like the first record. And I mean, in terms of raw, because you think of punk as being raw, I would say that has the similarity. But in terms of like, none of the songs I would never associate with punk in any like fashion whatsoever.
I would say like Running Free is kind of straight up rock. It's not it's not metal. Like it's it's got a groove and it's got a chanting chorus that's kind of a sing-along chorus and but
it had all the seeds of what Maiden was going to become.
Yes.
All sprinkled out through. I mean, Phantom of the Opera is just quintessential classic Maiden, and Transylvania, and Remember Tomorrow, and its own way. That's the interesting
thing about the track list. It's like it's kind of a weird. Yeah. I thought it's kind of like Prowler's a weird opener.
Yeah. Like they did not set this one up. They didn't. I mean, Iron Maiden being the last song kind of makes sense as it being kind of the finale of it, but the rest of it's like all over the place.
It really is. The sequencing is super weird.
Because Phantom of the Opera is the first time it really, sounds like actual. That's like the classic Maiden sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even Steve Harris acknowledges that too. Phantom of the Opera.
Oh,
yeah.
The whole album, they're in their typical, E, D, C chord progressions. They do the whole. They've done every album since ever.
But these are also songs that
in that respect they found their sound right away. Yeah, Steve Harris wrote almost everything.
Yeah, and he's been working on a lot of these since like 75. So this is kind of, as a first album, it's not that surprising that there'd be songs that are kind of all over the place because he's evolving as a songwriter as he's coming up to record this album. So, you've got some really a big variety of songs on this album for sure.
And most of them they have played still.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And or recorded, Prowler and Charlotte the Harlot, I think were on the same single.
I'm not sure.
I don't know the single.
That Bruce sang.
That's deep.
Yeah, Bruce sang Prowler on some single, and Charlotte the Harlot.
He sang it on, I think on a live. Was he on a Real Dead one? Did they do that?
Maybe.
I think they
maybe
did almost
no,
this entire album.
They did Remember Tomorrow.
I have like
right here,
a vinyl.
But if you have that box set that came out in the
that's
late
great.
90s,
I have that one. The coffin thing. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
So good.
There's so much from the first two albums that Bruce sings on that's awesome.
I think we talked about this the first time, but Keith wasn't here. But have you ever heard the recording of Bruce's jam / audition?
No.
Floating around. Yeah, you can find it on the internet. I bought this tape though, like before. This was like in the mid 80s. There used to be this massive flea market called Jolly Jim's. And there was always this one guy who had weird shit, like the live recordings that you wanted to spend way too much money for. And it had Bruce's audition.
Wow.
I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's him singing Killers like a freak, screaming his ass off. I think Remember Tomorrow. They're doing some like jamming on some Zeppelin. They sound like they're completely shit-faced. They're just like doing Happy Christmas sing-along things, like almost kind of like the Beatles used to do in their Christmas albums.
That Christmas thing.
Yeah.
Christmas stuff, Happy New Year, and they're just all like laughing and being silly. But yeah, I put it onto a disc, but I think that I found it on eBay or something. You could probably find it anywhere, but
yeah,
or Discogs, I'm sure has it.
Probably.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
$100, $200.
Yeah, well, I have it if you want it.
Yes,
this sounds really cool.
We have a Google Drive.
Yes.
I had to bring this out too.
Oh wait, the Soundhouse tapes. Yeah, we have that. We do have that. I shared that with you guys.
Yes. No, you didn't. You bought it legally, and
I bought it.
We listened to your copy
in the 80s. I don't know how.
I don't know if I bought it legally. Like, I don't know if it was a legal copy I bought, but I do have the actual CD.
This is the 45.
It's awesome.
But I don't remember Bruce's auditions being on there.
No, it's not on this.
Oh, okay.
No, this is just the Invasion and Iron Maiden, Invasion, and Prowler.
Oh, that looks just. What was the front say? I thought it said Soundhouse tapes.
Yeah, it does.
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's a CD I think it's 2 discs that has obviously a lot more stuff on it.
This is the.
Guess we get
the somewhat real deal. I don't think this is an official because I forget how it works. Like they made 100 and then maybe someone made copies, but
yeah,
I would have to double check whether or not this is for real. But I bought this in the early 80s.
It's a 45 with the small hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best.
1979 Rock Hard Records.
Remember that stupid
the
little
snap in?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
What? The what?
The little
adapter
thing you have to kind of shove.
Oh, you know what that's called?
What's it called?
My ass.
Because I was actually wondering. It's called the Spider.
Well,
really?
Spiders have 8 legs.
Spider. Oh shit! See, we're an educational program.
That's right.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, there you go.
That horrible thing.
I have a record player right next to me.
There you go.
But now they have just a thing you set in the record player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like why didn't they do this when we were kids?
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
They wanted you to break your records.
Yeah.
Break your records with rock and roll.
What's the youngest demo that we have listening to us? Because there's got to be somebody's like, what the fuck are they talking about? What is the
Yeah, but it's
what are they talking
educational.
about?
Trust me, like there's no one under the age of 40 that listens.
Okay, then we're good.
Was that a Keel reference, Chris?
Man of War.
Man of War.
Man of
that's
War.
right.
Oh,
That's right.
wow.
Blow your
I couldn't come up with a Keel reference. I don't think.
Ron Keel.
Ron Keel.
Didn't we come up with them on our power metal
Probably.
discussion?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't we write one of the
When we had the
songs
fist conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fist covers or
I think they covered a Keel song, or he wrote one of the songs on that Pantera album.
Oh, God.
Do you
Oh,
remember
that sounds
discussion?
familiar. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
There was some like,
It's one of
yeah,
our very first episodes.
yes, power metal. Yeah, because we talked about power metal.
Ron.
That's right.
Yeah,
It sounds like Ron Popeil. Maker of
power
the
metal.
chicken oven or whatever
Oh,
that
that's
thing
not
was.
good.
Also, a very good Weird Al Yankovic song,
What's that?
Ron Popeil?
Mr. Popeil. Yeah.
Set it and forget it.
so I realized something about the about Prowler when we brought this into the Maiden band.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we picked it. I probably picked it because I'm more old school than they are.
I love that song. It's probably my
Yeah.
second favorite song on this album.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's a
once
great
we
song.
started playing it, like I've always liked it, but once we started playing it, it's like my favorite. It's one of my top 3 favorite songs to play with the band.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, because we do it faster. I sing harmonies.
Shit, you do it faster.
Yeah, and it's just like blazing Clive Burr. It has so much energy.
Well, let's talk about that because let's face it. When it comes to Burr, I still don't know how or why he got fired, but what is
He was a raging.
Yeah.
alcoholic.
yeah, who wasn't?
No,
No,
it's like Mustaine. If you're in these bands and you're the alcoholic, it's a real problem.
yeah.
he was done with the road though. He didn't want to be on the road anymore, and
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
pretty sure it was mutual. So I don't think that he really got fired.
One way or another, what I really wanted to talk about though is kind of, his style as compared to Nico's. And it's when I think about the old Burr stuff, to me, he's a lot more. He's not as flashy. He doesn't have 8 gongs behind him, and he's doing like fucking going crazy on toms. He's a pretty simplistic,
This can all be referenced in our previous podcast with Chris.
Oh, really?
No,
Oh.
I'm
I
just kidding.
didn't-
That's okay.
We can bring it up
we can talk
again.
again. Yeah, it's okay.
That's what. Well,
That was just a cheap plug.
Listen to
wish
that
I had-
episode because
I wish I knew what episode it was, but
Well, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
well, I mean, again, apples and oranges. Clive,
orange is
again,
better.
from playing the stuff and really getting inside the music, I enjoy playing Clive way more than Nico stuff. Nico is more improvisational and more of a jazz influenced drummer, so which lends itself to being a little bit more improvisational.
Mhm.
So he doesn't do a lot of the same things twice. He's way more busy, and yes, he has more drums, but I mean that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Buddy Rich had a 4-piece kit. And he was like the best
Yeah.
drummer in the world. But Clive, he had his thing, and everything that he played fit the music perfectly, and that's all he really should be doing anyway. And actually, I should say that Nico annoys me because I don't feel like he does that. Like he plays too much
Mhm.
because he feels like he has to play, which is like the biggest no-no. Like when you're recording, if you're playing live, yeah, all hell breaks loose. You're excited and you're just playing more. But on the album, he just kind of annoys me. And Clive always just kind of played the song, especially Number of the Beast. Number of the Beast is like, I always compare him to Neil Peart, the way he constructed the parts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just in terms of like how he architecturally designed the parts. Because you don't, at least for me, I never feel like you would play it any other way than Clive plays it on the album, except we play it faster. But everything he did was perfect. Every bass drum note he played was perfect. Every fill he played was perfect. It's like like when you play Tom Sawyer, you're not going to play anything else because it's perfect the way it is.
Right.
And that's how I feel with most of Clive's parts. But the other thing about Clive, for the drummers listening, is that if you notice, he never plays like in Prowler. He doesn't play what a lot of people would just play like on the hi-hat and go like so if that's the groove with the bass drum and snare, like walking, you might be inclined to just go on the hi-hat. But he goes, and he does this in every song that has that tempo, he'll go
like 16th notes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a hi-hat.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some footage that live at Hammersmith, I think, the Beast on the Road, where every time they show him, there's some spots in Sanctuary where he goes to the hi-hat and his hand is like low and fucking blazing. And I don't know how he kept it up, but yeah, he does that in almost every song that has that tempo. Instead of playing you're
right. He does.
And in Prowler, you can hear it. Just listen to the hi-hats. He's just, so it adds so much more energy and excitement to a lot of these songs because they would sound completely different if he did not do that one little thing.
Well,
it would be completely different.
I've been tooling around with the song Phantom of the Opera, just doing a little guitar thing for that song, and I pulled a isolated drum track of that, and I was just listening, kind of playing along to that.
The actual drum track?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it may have been a drum cover. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's probably somebody just playing it. Yeah,
I think it was a drum, but he was doing he's doing some crazy stuff in the verse of that song.
Because he keeps the snare drum going the whole time with the ride. He's just like alternating.
Yeah.
And then accenting. So instead of just going like dot dot, he's going like
yeah.
Yeah. Well, here, let me play a little bit. Well, go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
I was going to say you. Well, Eric said he's covering the song on guitar, and I was like, well, I can take a stab at drums. I mean, it's Clive Burr. It can't be that too complex. Oh.
Yeah. You're wrong.
I was like, what? Oh, wait a minute. This is.
I'm trying to sing harmonies.
I want to continue that Rush analogy with Chris. I want to continue the Rush analogy or comparison. It's not really an analogy, I guess. But when you were saying how you get annoyed with Nico because he's doing too much, that's the first thing that came to mind. Was like, that's
Neil plays a lot. That's how you feel about Neil.
Not Neil. That's how I feel about their bass player.
Oh,
I wish he would just fucking chill the F out and groove for a little while. I feel like he's constantly
Steve Harris.
No, Geddy Lee and Rush.
No. Geddy Lee.
Oh, got it.
Geddy Lee, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you were saying about Steve Harris, I think all of us would drive to his house right now and beat him to fucking death.
No, but and I'm probably one of the few people that feel that way about him, but I just
especially
I'm like, would you just chill out? I know he's a 3-piece and he should be doing a little more, but I just feel like sometimes it's like, come on, like just play fucking bass, you know?
Well, it's funny because I think that what if Neil played, a Tom Sawyer completely different, and that's what we knew Tom Sawyer was. And could you say that he plays busy? And if he didn't, then what would it be like? It wouldn't be Tom Sawyer anymore. We know.
I agree.
It's not.
So there's that line of like,
it's not Neil or Alex that bothers me about that band. It's all on Geddy Lee.
I would have never have thought that.
Yeah.
Well, his voice irritates me. That's why.
Yes.
Well, that more. Yeah.
Let's face it. If that band just got a different vocalist, they could have been the biggest band that ever existed.
Yeah. Maybe they should have hired Paul Diano.
That would have been very weird.
Good idea.
I know.
I bet he's still singing.
Well, here, let me play a little bit of that Family Opera.
Not doing too well.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hair's going the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just kind of like bouncing his stick on that snare, just staying
Yeah.
the whole
Just-
time. It's like,
Ghost notes and the accents.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
One of my first
that's-
drum lessons ever. I took like 5 drum lessons, and one was from this guy in a local cover band. He was amazing, but he wasn't a good teacher. And he was always like hungover on Saturday morning with a big cup of coffee. And I
That's
wanted
where
to
you
learn
learned it
that
from.
song, actually. I wanted to learn that song. So he transcribed some of it for me. And I don't know if that helped. I don't remember actually like learning it from that transcription because I didn't even know how to read music back then. But
Yeah.
But when
That song
Nico
is
plays that, he plays it a little bit differently. He doesn't. I don't think he does the ghost notes quite like that,
no.
or if he does them at all. I think he just does straight snare, and there's not
And
really
hits
much
his gong.
nuance.
Yep.
Yeah, and then hits a gong.
This is gong. I don't think he hits a gong very often.
If you listen to it on Live After Death, it's it's his style, and
I
it's
think
that's
you're
the
right
thing,
with
too, like,
right with
his
Ancient
style,
Mariner and what?
Instead of going like he'll go like
yeah, that's what he's doing. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it wasn't bad. It was just different. It's probably more how I would probably play it.
yeah.
I was like, that's probably what I would do because I'm not as technical as I could.
Well, it's a
probably should
choice
be.
that you can make too. Like he could
Wait, that's
do
why
it.
Eric
Why
got
does he
rid
do
of
it? You never know,
Eric.
really. Like
Yeah.
you're playing that song live for
'Cause he's our
years and
Nico.
years. Maybe his hands
Yeah,
just
that's
get
right.
tired. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
the
also that's
songs-
such a nuanced. I mean, if you're live, it's hard to just like hit that.
yeah, it's
perfectly
probably
and
no
get it
use
all-
in having to bother about doing that. But
Yeah.
And whenever I
Um,
see Clive, I think of Eric Joseph.
Josephson.
I don't know
Oh.
why.
I can see that.
Bangs,
Sure.
the blonde hair.
Yeah.
So we should play some of this album. I haven't played a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember Tomorrow.
Yeah, let's. What are the
Remember Tomorrow,
highlights
yeah.
here?
It's like the least Iron Maiden sounding song
Which one?
ever, right? Remember Tomorrow.
And it's the second track.
It's the second track.
exactly.
Weird.
Like that song should not be the second track.
I know. As I
No.
said before,
No.
the track listing's weird on this album. It's
Should
like-
not be the second track.
I think like it should
Why
have opened with
shouldn't it,
Running
though?
Free and
Mhm.
Prowler should have been
It's-
second.
Maybe
No,
Charlotte the
no,
Harlot
no.
up there. Yeah.
Prowler should be first.
Yeah, probably should be
That's
first,
perfect.
but Remember Tomorrow. That's like track 6. It should be
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Oh, why you don't dig this?
I love it.
good
It's
track,
just
It's a great
no,
song. It's just not like
It's not number
doesn't
2
sound
on
like
the
a song.
soundtrack.
slow and
It would be a number 3 live track for Metallica on a set list.
or 4.
4.
I think 3. Didn't they like used to do Sanitarium third?
Oh, on the set. Oh, I see. On the
Live
set list. Live,
set
yeah.
list. Yeah. On an
Yeah.
album, it'd be 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Unchain the colors.
Good voice.
It really does.
Yeah.
He
Incredible
does a lot
bass.
of
I love
killers
that
too,
bass
where he
line.
sings soft.
Yeah.
Sorrows. Tomorrow's white lies. Scan the horizon.
a lot of ghost notes, Tim, on the drums.
Yeah.
Clouds take me higher. I shall return.
Does it?
It might be worth.
It almost sounds like brushes. I know it's not, but it almost sounds like brushes.
He does a little buzz on the ride as well. I think he does like a 5 strokes between the ride and the snare.
It
Yeah.
might be worth comparing the Bruce Dickinson version from a Dead One because he sings the melody's way different when he does it. You
Oh,
notice
really?
that?
No. I don't
Oh
think-
yeah.
That's a pet peeve of mine.
Really?
Yeah, big time.
That he
Like,
does his own little thing.
not with that song specifically. I don't even know what he does with it, but just like, it's just me
I like
being
both
an
of
anal
them.
bastard. That I like to hear the way it's written, not don't fuck with it because you're a singer kind of thing.
It is different.
Yeah.
They're both good though. I don't have a
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I don't have a problem with it.
Chris is old. He doesn't like change.
Yeah.
Do the
He does
heaviness.
his- At the end of that,
Yeah.
he does his
Yeah.
Legacy of the Beast video game noise.
What's that?
You win the battle. He goes- I'm not going to do it in the house.
Oh yeah,
But Naveed said I did it pretty well.
you did. Yeah.
What is this?
That noise that Bruce. If you play the end of that song, he does it.
Oh, the screams.
The scream.
Just
yeah.
it's a particular scream though.
Oh,
When he's matching the guitar notes.
yeah. He does it on this stuff.
Yeah. That's very Cemetery Gates too.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Nice.
No, you know what it is? It's Deep Purple.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think he did it first.
You know what it is? It's Mozart.
Probably.
It's Bach.
No, because I forget who told me about it, but there's a Deep Purple song, and it's almost the exact same thing, where Ian Gillan matches the guitar at like the end of a song, and he screams almost exactly like that. And Bruce, I mean, that was a huge influence on Bruce. Was
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
I'll have to find that song.
There's always an originator that you don't
Yeah.
know about.
Yeah.
And whoever you thought was the originator, they copied from somebody.
Exactly.
Probably.
Yep. All right, let me get back to this album.
Pick it up with Running Free.
Running Free. Yeah, that's. I mean,
It's like a Bruce Springsteen song or something.
Instead of the drums, it's so like old school.
yeah, it's almost like
It is.
It's a really fast Gary Glitter.
Hey, da-da.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing.
Oh, part two.
Mentioning the punk thing again,
Yes.
this is probably the most punk song of. I mean, when I hear that drum beat, I kind of hear the Ramones, you know.
A little bit, yeah.
It's got
But,
that feel.
Yeah.
Sound too.
But it's one way or another. It is still like the only song on here that would have any of that album.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
Guess what song's fun to play on bass on this album?
So who's doing the vocal harmonies? Is that Paul
I don't
also?
know. Steve Harris did a lot of them
Yeah, like
live.
Yeah, he was the singer sometimes for them.
Who?
Steve.
What do you mean?
it says
the very
Dennis and Steve did the backing on
Yeah.
this.
When like the band wouldn't have a singer, Steve was he
really?
would fill in as the singer.
No. Nice.
Wow.
I used to think they said, what's the next verse? Something LA jail.
Oh, LA
Yeah,
Jail.
I used to think
Spend a
he
night
said
in LA, Joe.
spending the night in the NHL. That's what I used to think it was.
Oh,
Like, what the hell?
He's,
Nope.
he's Canadian.
He's getting around.
He's a fan
He's
of
got,
hockey.
He's doing a lot of stuff. He's running free, going to the NHL.
It's skating free.
Yeah.
Joe, you know that's Tom Coleman's favorite Iron Maiden song. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I mean, I remember now that you mention it.
Yeah.
Paul Di'Anno is the most NHL of the bands of all time.
Yeah.
Looking, yeah, for sure.
Looking. Yeah.
The shortest hair, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a mullet too.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
probably
a
the
little bit.
punkier guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Leather in the even the back of the album. I mean, he looks
seems
like
like the
Gary
most-
Newman or something.
He seems the most prone to get in a fight as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who's that?
Paul Di'Anno with a short sleeve shirt and
I think
Yeah.
if I had
Oh,
to
yeah,
pick
yeah.
somebody to fight,
Tight
there
pants.
would be Dennis Stratton.
yeah.
I think everybody else in that band probably could kick. my
Yeah.
ass pretty
Dave
easily.
Murray, I don't know.
Dave Murray would probably be number 2.
He's a bigger dude than you think. I think.
But when you hear him
He's-
talk,
yeah.
I know, but he talks in the book about
Clive Burr.
like these guys. These guys apparently got in fights more than you would ever
Yeah.
suspect. But they would get drunk and get in Dave because Dave Murray he was the cute one in the
Oh.
band, and he would be the one that would pick up on hit on all the girls, and he would have to fight off the jealous
God.
boyfriends all the time.
Wow, there you go. So, yeah,
All right then.
he has some skills.
Yeah, Yeah, but his voice is well. I think it's weird to us, but I don't think it's that uncommon for whatever part of London he's from.
Never heard anyone talk like that.
Yeah, he's got a strange voice.
Well, we talked a little bit about Phantom of the Opera already.
Yeah,
I mean that's my favorite song on the album. Period.
It is a classic.
Like, how do you
weird
write
about
that
that
riff?
I know.
Yeah, I didn't really give that song its due credit until like a couple days ago. I feel like.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
I mean, it took me a while to come around on it too, because it was just like there's a lot to digest. On
yeah, and
it's 7 minutes long.
Yeah,
it's longer than everything
I know.
on the album by far.
I was like, how did I kind of just? I guess because when I first got into Maiden, there were so many other things that were so great that one kind of got shoved aside, and I just sort of.
This is like the precursor to all their epic.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, that riff,
all those parts and all those harmonizing solos and all that stuff happening. It's
that riff.
Yeah, counting it is always tricky.
Yeah, trust me. I've been trying to learn this.
Doing what? Doing all of it?
Counting in.
Oh yeah. You must just be looking at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I with the other guys. Like, I know.
I have a new callus on my pinky because of this song.
Congrats. This one's a blast to play live. Play it so much faster. All the different sections, like you said.
That bass
trying to sing harmonies while playing some of these.
I cannot licks. This is too fast on the album version for me.
I gotta find a live version of us.
Yeah, I mean I can't play the whole song. Yeah, it's so good.
This isn't gonna come through that well. I got the Steve Harris actual size bass strings for my P bass. They're 110 gauge, which is heavier than anything probably anybody has ever dealt with, and they're flat wound, so they feel smooth and mushy. And that's what Steve Harris uses. And I don't know how anyone is that fast or bright in their sound. And can play that middle part like that.
That's crazy.
But
talent.
I think he just didn't know any better when he started, and he got used to it. And that was that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's insane that he can play that fast.
Yeah.
And he just uses 2 fingers.
Yes.
He's not a 3-finger like Frank Bello.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's disgusting.
All that galloping, how does he do that with just 2 fingers?
Well, everybody uses 2 fingers. Frank is the weirdo that uses 3. That's, using
Trujillo uses 3.
Yeah, I don't think he's
time out. Trujillo uses so many different, kind of techniques. You can't really put him. He's not normal. Well, I mean, the normal way you play is you use 2 fucking fingers.
Have you played a flat wound string though, Keith?
Maybe. I mean,
you would know if you did. I can't believe I've gone 30 years of bass playing where, like, oh fuck, this feels totally different.
All right, well, back to this album. So Transylvania, the instrumental. I mean, good song, but
that is a negligible. Like, Transylvania. I like you listen to it and then you're like, oh yeah, and then you forget it as soon as it's over. It's really,
it's kind of like a lot. That's kind of their instrumental thing.
Play some of it.
Play some. So it's
like Lost for Words. You don't really mind it. You don't really hate it.
And Genghis Khan too.
Yeah,
we try to put these 2 together for a massive instrumental someday. Genghis Vania.
Genghis Khan would have
Transil Khan
of all their songs, right? Oh, another reason I think Strange World is about vampires is because it's preceded by this song.
Oh, okay.
That could be, yeah.
Deep, man.
Listen to the ride cymbal on this, Tim.
Yeah.
There's a little double there.
Yeah.
And he's always going to the crash.
Yeah.
Yeah. didn't just go fucking freak.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on here than I realized.
The fact that the bass player wrote the guitar parts is pretty fucking awesome. I mean, this part is basically the guitar and bass are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Just that regular, that like main riff when it's just the guitar and over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's,
The song is cool.
It's
a really good song.
Steve Harris.
There's a weird thing at the end, if you listen closely. I don't know what the noise is, but I remember hearing this even back on cassette. It sounds like a phone is going off in
Is
the
it like
background.
the very end?
Here. Hear it? It's a little-
Back.
when you get a chance later, just put on headphones. It's like a little.
I thought I heard feedback.
there.
I mean, I heard something. I did hear something.
There's
but it sounded
something
like
there,
feedback.
and I don't know what the fuck it is, but someone's phone, like cell phone, went off.
I'm glad we went back though.
Oh yeah,
because-
their cell phone back in.
Can you go back to that
79
where they
maybe.
kind of do the retard ending there?
I'm getting-
Worst snare.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
What are we laughing at?
He was singing Guar along to it.
Yeah, it's
Rock
perfect.
and roll never felt so
Perfect.
good.
It's a great segue though into Strange World. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like the way that it
how they.
leads right into it. Yeah. Which, so is Strange World like their only true ballad? Because there's
No,
no.
they had Prodigal Son.
Prodigal
I think it was.
Son.
Son, yeah.
Forget about that song. It's on Killers.
Damn.
Well, of course, wasting love.
Ugh,
If you want to go,
wasting your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like that song, you fuckers.
I just couldn't think of another song that has clean tone throughout. That's made
Virtual X probably has like 8 of them, and it's
probably, but I wouldn't know.
We would never know.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't eat the filthy motherfucker.
That's right. Well, I mean, I
great
don't
song.
want
I
to.
think. What?
What's that?
I wonder what they think of that song. That they just completely ignored it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't. They've never played it live with.
I mean, they
With,
can't think
Bruce.
very highly of it. I mean,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
let's face it, it's I think it's fine, but I don't really,
Have they truly
let's
never
face it,
played
on
it
this
live, or they just
album,
never
it's
recorded
definitely
it
not
live?
the best.
They never played it live with Bruce.
All right.
Right. Okay. So, all right.
I don't. Have they
I'm sure
played
they
live
played
with
it
Paul
on this
Di'Anno?
tour.
I don't know.
I'm sure they.
How would they
had
not?
to.
They only had 2 albums of material,
Yeah. They probably played everything on this album plus other stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember hearing any Paul stuff. I mean, most of that stuff is just released. I don't know if there's been any bootlegs of Paul stuff.
I don't know. It's a good question.
In Made Japan wasn't on that. There wasn't on anything that they did live that has been like released.
No, it's weird because it's
And when you
It's
can
good.
play, Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, Charlotte the Harlot, or Strange World, and you only can play
Well.
3 of them, guess what? 3 you're going to play.
But
yeah.
So, what do we think?
and the
Is it
length of
vamp-
those songs too take up a couple.
Is it
you know,
vampires or what?
I haven't dissected the lyrics. So
I
I'm
didn't
not-
Yeah,
even
they-
read the lyrics, so
they had like a
probably.
little, a seance or something, and I don't
He
know.
went to some weird like Tom Cruise party and it was a vampire thing. Brad Pitt was there.
He was Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh.
Check out the lyrics.
Yeah.
Plasma Wine.
It's not obvious, which I like when songs are not
No.
country songs and it's obvious what they're talking about. But
You want me to read the lyrics? We can have a reading.
yeah, sure. Poetry reading. This would be
Yeah, do it slowly, though. Dramatic.
Need to do it, and I don't have good
Use
voices.
pausing.
And then you die.
And then you
Then my
die.
friend you
Strange word.
die.
The only place where you can dream. Living here is not what it seems.
Not what it seems.
Tip of white, light in the
Can you
sky.
read it like Shatner?
Nobody there.
Yeah.
It's a reason why.
Nobody there.
Here I am.
Reason.
I'm not really there. Smiling faces ever so rare. Let's walk in deepest space. Living here just isn't the place. Pretty fucking weird.
It's very vague.
Yeah.
It gets even weirder. Leaves of green grasses twine. Girls drinking plasma wine. Look at love, a dream unfolds. Living here, you'll never grow old. They didn't have to rhyme so perfectly. They knew to just, if it sounds the same. Stalks of light grow from the ground. When I cry, there isn't a sound. All my feelings cannot be held. I'm happy in my new strange world. Fucked up.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean,
it's either he's a vampire or he's real fucked up on heroin.
I was gonna say, it
works like the Twilight Zone single, where Eddie is kind of like an apparition in the mirror.
Yeah.
Something like that. Who knows? Just making shit up on crack cocaine.
Cutting it up big time.
Maybe he's dead, but not in heaven. He's like purgatory, halfway.
Can I segue us into Charlotte the Harlot?
Yes.
Yeah.
I always hated this song and its sister song 22K Shavin because I didn't like the subject matter. But in recent years, when I've been, an old person and I don't
been using prostitutes, lyrics,
I think the songs are fucking.
How it turns you on?
I think they're both awesome. I don't care about the lyrics as much. Yeah. I think this is Dave Murray's
It's the only song.
Yeah,
it's the only song he's ever written, right? Yeah. Or only
I think it's a really fucking cool. It's a really fucking cool song, actually.
Did you have to look up what harlot was? Because I didn't know what the fucking harlot was.
No,
when I was a kid, I did. Yeah. I had to look it up when I was a kid.
I don't think I ever would have known what it was if it wasn't for Iron Maiden.
No.
Well, there's no way.
We got better. Because no one says, who says harlot?
Yeah, I mean, they did that back in 1850.
It's English.
Oh, she's a harlot. Oh, go see the harlot.
Yeah.
This is my least.
There's apparently 4 songs about Charlotte the Harlot.
Yeah, I saw that I saw that too. I don't.
Okay, what's the
22?
22, obviously. But
right.
What are the other two?
Bring your daughter.
Hooks in You, and From Here to Eternity.
Oh yeah. Well, they've kind of mentioned Charlotte or something.
Do they?
Make a reference.
What album is Hooks in You on?
No Prayer for the Dying.
No Prayer for the Dying.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Actually, don't mind that. I don't know.
Hate that song.
I hate the sound of the album more than anything else.
I mean, I don't like that.
I don't. Which was deliberate. Song. It was supposed to sound like a.
Well, it was in Steve's barn, and he produced it, and get a real guy in there instead of, probably cost him nothing, but I think that's what suffered. But it was raw, and that was the whole thing. Like even on the tour, they stripped everything down. It was just like a backdrop and nothing else.
Yeah.
There was no leather or span.
No, Bruce wore leather. He had that leather jacket with the tassels because that's what he wore right after when he did Tattooed Millionaire. He had that jacket for years.
Oh,
I don't remember. Okay,
there was leather.
Don't you dare say there was no leather. Leather.
It was mostly jeans.
The leather till dying.
It was mostly denim.
Life to
right. That's true.
Yeah,
true. A lot of life till denim. Speaking of Halford.
Yeah, Charlotte the Harlot for me is not. It's okay. It's
speaking of Halford. He came on to Bruce Diano.
Bruce Diano.
Bruce.
Who's that?
I mean, not Paul.
Getting everything all mixed up on this episode.
Strange world. Strange podcast.
Yes.
This isn't plasma wine.
But another drumming tour de force, though. If you listen to that, another.
I'll play a little bit of it.
Speaking of drumming tour de forces, we just talked about British Steel recently.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
The opposite of a tour de force.
For my hi-hats.
The tour de flay.
Yeah, he does that little open hi-hat thing. He loves that.
Yeah, but he's doing all the 16.
Yeah.
And he does all.
Yeah.
Just don't like that. I don't like that chorus. It's so.
Yeah, the chorus is
kind of goofy.
But I like that. I like that the song has a different. Well, I mean, if you've never heard Iron Maiden before and you only heard this album, you'd probably be like, they all sound exactly the same, but or at least the faster songs. But it's a little different. Like we can tell that's not quite the same format, but it's got that slow part that I like.
Musically, it is a very strange song. Even like how they line these things up, like the beginning, bam, 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 bam. It's not really in time. It's almost like they're looking at each other in the room kind of thing.
It's got that weird like the half circle with a dot on the it's like
dotted half note.
Rough time, like For Whom the Bell Tolls always had at the end.
Oh, you mean
not in strict time. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Fermata.
It's just stigmata.
Well, even when they go into the slow section.
Tell my mother.
When they go into the slow section, bam. I mean, that's like, I don't know. I'd have to sit down and like listen to that a bunch of times and figure out if that's like really in time or like they're just feeling it together.
I think that's what it is. I think you're just feeling it together as a band.
Yeah.
Like you
just gotta feel it.
Yeah,
feel it.
Does anyone have a problem with the fact that they rhyme legs with bed? I mean, it's like, Dave Murray, I guess, wrote that one, but it's like,
it's the accent.
What? Time out.
Like
those two words don't rhyme. You can't do that.
Well, there's that thing I was just saying, like where as long as the word has the same kind of like consonant, it doesn't have to rhyme exactly.
Well, that's a vowel. They're rhyming the vowels of it that aren't even close to the end of the word.
Well, in all of
like
Strange
Murray.
World, they do. It's very close, and then the last two lines they say, "All my feelings cannot be held. I'm happy in my new strange world."
Sure.
Yeah.
That's totally not consistent with the rest of the song.
Yeah.
But who are we to argue? Who am I to argue?
Who are I?
Who are I?
Hey, on Phantom of the Opera, did you notice? I don't recall this being on the cassette that I had, but at the very end, there's a weird little vocal thing at the very end of it. Did you?
I noticed that.
Pick up on that on the Spotify version?
Yes, it's weird. I don't know why they added that. I'll play it.
It's at the very end.
The song ends.
Yeah.
And then, like, fast forward a little bit, but then right at the end. Hold on. It's coming.
I have heard that.
Yeah,
is that Matt?
I've heard that. I was like, why did
you guys
they do
planted that on there?
No, it's on the remaster.
No. It is.
It's on the remaster.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's on the remaster.
Yeah.
It is. Totally is.
In fact, that's
like, what just happened?
No, it's on the remaster.
It's on this?
Yeah. I don't know if it's on that. I think there's a newer remaster.
2015 remaster is the one I have.
Yeah.
How many fucking remasters are there?
I don't know.
How much money do I have to spend on this band?
Why would you not?
Now you have to buy
go buy it
another
tomorrow,
album
aren't you?
just so you can have that little clip at the end.
Yeah,
They could put all. They could say we're gonna remaster all our albums every 5 years, and I would buy them.
I know, seriously.
Just leave the album artwork alone. Jesus Christ.
No, they got a remix Peace of Mind.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
all I asked for.
Definitely.
See what that sounds like.
Well,
just remove Quest for Fire from the album.
No,
I love that
leave it.
song.
Leave the fucking thing alone. God, don't be like George Lucas, Keith. God damn.
All right, we're at the last song. So obviously it's Iron Maiden. It's,
Iron
Forests
Maiden
and
by
Swamps
Iron
of
Maiden
Danger.
on Iron Maiden.
All right, so the most interesting thing to me about this song, the album version is faster than the live version, which is the opposite.
I think it depends on what year.
The riff is so
It's way
bizarre.
faster than they play it live these days.
These two riffs written by a bass player together is fucking weird to me. Like, how did he do that?
It's way faster.
But if you go back,
that's almost speed metal.
but go back, Eric, to just
Then back to the fast hi-hats.
Yeah.
that riff's weird enough.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna put a descending thing over that. And then I'm gonna play a bass part that's not at all like that.
I know.
I don't know how he did that.
Yeah, I know. He's a genius.
It's Steve Harris.
Yeah.
Just accept that.
A little bit more into the verse.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to see your blood. I just want to stand next to you. See the blood begin to flow as it falls up on the floor. I made a candy.
How do you feel about the rhyming of this one?
The what?
The rhyming of the lyrics. Because there's none.
Yeah.
Thought and fought don't rhyme.
Oh wow.
Wherever, whenever you
No,
are.
what is that?
It's gonna get you, no matter how far. See the blood flow, watching it shed.
Blood flow.
What is that? The Soul Glow version?
Dionne Warwick back there. See the blood flow.
This song has one of the
She made
cooler,
blood
like,
flowing so sexy.
little bass interlude breakdowns, though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of all their
To get to
songs.
that middle.
It's hard as shit to play, by the way.
I can imagine.
Over in this bass part. It's not complicated. It's just really fast.
It's so weird that this song is 3 minutes and 34 seconds. It feels like it should be like 6
I
minutes.
feel like the
long.
live version
Yeah.
is 10.
That one is
Yeah.
fun as shit to play too, because it's just like there's nothing even to really think about. You just like you said,
Yeah.
like thrash, just ga 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 ga.
Yeah.
You're playing
And
fast,
first
you're playing
ver-
fast fills. It's not. It's just kind
Isn't
of.
first verse the same
It's
as
kind
second
of
verse?
punk.
He plays what in terms of the drums?
No, I think you mean lyric wise, right?
Oh, I
Yeah.
think it's the same.
I think it is the same.
Yeah. It's very poetic.
Yeah.
Repeating stanzas.
They want to drive that point home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays busier the second time, which is cool. A lot more fills. But yeah, it's just fun as hell. The middle is hard to time with the bassist. 'Cause they
I
have to
bet.
kind of, give them 4 clicks like they do live.
You might want to look at each other on that part, but I don't think they do.
Wow. They better turn around and look.
They've had a little bit of practice.
They're not usually behind me.
So before we grade this, we did ask our listeners to provide some feedback, and we got some. We got a couple people who sent in some video, so I'll play the audio so you guys can hear it. The first one is from our buddy Roger, who was in the local chapter of the Metallica fan club with Tim and I. So we'll play Roger's video clip here.
Hi, this is Roger. I want to talk about Iron Maiden, Up the Irons. When I was in high school, one year for my birthday, my friends all got together and they bought me the first 4 Maiden albums all on vinyl. All we did for weeks was listen to those 4 albums over and over and over again. And of course, we were recording them onto tape so that everybody could have them, but shh, don't tell anybody about that. But Maiden was a sound we've never heard before. There's nobody like them. No one sounds like them. That is what's so great about them. Great lyrics. The musicianship is amazing. The long songs that take you on a journey. Iron Maiden's in a class all by themselves. One of the best bands of all time. One of the best live bands. All the stuff with Eddie. One of the great, kind of, I hate to say this, like Kiss with their imagery, but the imagery of Maiden is amazing, but that's secondary. That's just icing on the cake. Iron Maiden's one of the best bands of all time.
He's not wrong.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's right. There is no one. I mean, Iron Maiden is in a class by themselves, and no one sounds like them.
Yeah.
There have been bands that try to sound like them, but
Yeah.
it's I think it's all Steve Harris. I mean, the dude.
Yeah. When I was thinking
That's
about
crazy.
like, preparation for this, episode or whatever, thinking about Iron Maiden, you throw accolades about, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or all any of that garbage. And it just seems as though Maiden is one of those bands. I mean, I don't know that I'd throw them like along with the Beatles, but they are a band that seriously has stuck to their own goddamn style their entire time and not caved to what was ever popular, like say, like firing your lead singer and bringing in John Bush. But one way or another, I mean, they've stuck to their shit the entire time and really, I mean, you listen to their recent stuff and it's just as
Oh, we
fucking
didn't even
good
get
as
into
like
that.
their old stuff. I mean, they've
I gotta disagree
never-
with you
They've
like
literally had the
a
same amount of
million%
singers as
on that.
Anthrax.
I can't listen to anything after Brave New World. I can't.
Crazy.
I've tried. I don't like one single thing.
Okay. I only own fucking goddamn the latest
Book
one.
of Souls.
Book of Souls. Yeah. How you don't like Book of Souls?
No.
The fuck is
I've
wrong
tried.
What is it?
Keith, I've tried many
I don't
times.
know.
Chris,
Yeah.
to get into that album.
What-
It's-
I've tried. I'll buy them all. I have bought all of them because I love them so much that I will still buy their shit, even though I absolutely cannot listen to them. And I'm just like, this is so derivative and lame, and it's driving me ape shit.
The song Book of Souls is amazing. So good.
What is it? I mean, you said it's derivative, but I mean, it sounds like Maiden to
It
me.
sounds like, right. It's just like they're
Is
trying
it just
to.
that they're out of ideas?
Yeah.
Is that what it
Yeah.
sounds
It's like it all sounds the same and not in a good way.
Because I mean, nobody rips off Iron Maiden more than Iron Maiden. So
Right.
I certainly get that, but
I think it's the lack of ideas. There's like nothing new that
Time
is
out, River
exciting
Runs-
to me.
The fact that River Runs Deep on Book of Souls, that is my favorite song on that album, and it's because it's got kind of more or less, well, what I would call a kind of a more of a hardcore, kind of New York hardcore style in its verse. And
Well, also, if you want different, Empire of the Clouds is like as different as you
Yeah.
can get from Maiden. That
Yeah.
song
Yeah.
is like 17 minutes long. Bruce playing
18 minutes
piano.
long.
yeah.
It's amazing. It's so good. I mean, story wise, like the story.
He's falling asleep.
come on.
But
now.
you're the one saying that it sucks, aren't you?
Me? No,
Okay.
No.
I
That's
love
me.
that.
I thought Eric. I thought you were saying that you were agreeing with Chris. That
No,
that it
are you
sucks.
crazy? I
No
love
one's
Book of Souls.
agreeing
No.
with me.
I think Book of Souls is
No.
their best album since Brave New World. So
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's a great album.
I think Brave New
I
World
just-
definitely.
The beginning of that's the album with the beginning, the
Yeah.
Yes.
great song.
a real fucking instrument in there, except doing that on a keyboard. Like, it's the
Why is that an
worst
instrument?
intro to an album like I've heard since I don't know.
I
what.
love that intro. I love that whole song.
I don't like the
sounds
intro.
so
I love the song,
cheesy.
and I hate the outro.
It's
You're
so
the guy
intro
that
and the
listens to
outro
hair
is
metal, and you're talking
garbage.
about cheesy. Come on,
But the
man.
sound, like,
Weren't
they
you
got
saying how
$1 billion
Firehouse had
in
good
their bank
songs?
account. It's like
You
get
said
a real-
Firehouse had good songs earlier, before we went on the air.
listen,
You even referenced Trickster, which Keith missed.
because I have my
Holy
headset on.
another trickster.
Keith, you found your soulmate. There's the other Trickster fan in the fucking world.
I'm not
Doesn't mean I'm a
Trickster
fan. It just
Time out.
means-
I make fun of them.
Doesn't mean I'm a fan.
You
Okay.
guys,
You said give it to me good.
you
get
guys bring it
Trickster.
up too much.
Maiden has $1 billion.
Oh, okay. We're back to a
And-
romantic. Good.
The beginning of that album is just sounds on a keyboard that they could have probably hired real musicians to play. I don't know what that instrument is trying to be, but it's terrible. It's terrible.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
it's
whatever.
like a bunch of teenagers got in the room and like got the synthesizer out and was like, "Oh, listen to this beautiful piece of music."
Hey, Chris, when you upgrade to an actual instrument, we'll listen to your opinion on
Oh.
instruments. Okay. Hey, drummer.
Yeah. Why don't we play something in the key of B flat? Because you don't play in a key.
I do actually.
I've got snare.
I have some mallet instruments downstairs.
I feel
Oh,
like he
marimba.
probably actually plays instruments. I
I
should
do.
shut up.
Yeah.
I
All right, we
been
got one
practicing
more
skill
person
with-
give us some feedback. Let's shift
All right,
gears a little bit.
yes.
So our buddy Paul, of course,
Yeah, let's
who
hear
was
Paul.
probably the most diehard Maiden fan I know.
I wish we
Um,
just had him pretended to be Steve Harris. And
Well, he
done
did send a
something.
video clip, so you get to hear him speak.
Yeah, let's
Well, that's what I want.
and
Yeah,
let's all
because I think he sounds just like him.
Somewhere in Time podcast. Iron Maiden by Iron Maiden, their first album. What can you say about it? Bloody fantastic. They kick off rip-roaring tracks. Some are kind of what you call pop rock, pop metal. Great sing-alongs. You've got the operatic, long main track, Phantom of the Opera, which sounds like nothing that you've ever heard then or since, really. unbelievable track. The whole album is really tears along at a great pace. It's a good length for the album. Real showing how great this band was destined to be. Yeah, Steve Harris doesn't like the production and the sound. Personally, for a young band producing their first album, I really like the sound. It's raw and it's energy. I'm not fussed about the production. I think that on vinyl when I bought it years back in the 80s, it's just, the album is just so fantastic. None of that matters, and actually I think it enhances the whole feel of it. It's not pristine, but it's just raw energy, and you know, here they come, Iron Maiden. I'm going to give that an A.
What was that?
Friend of ours, Paul.
He's gonna get an A.
They didn't produce that first album, by the way. It was Will Malone.
Yeah. No, I think he was just saying.
Yeah, but they were saying that Will Malone really, as much as he was the producer, he didn't really give a shit.
Just a dude. Yeah, he was the guy that was. Those guys followed directions.
Yeah, but it was like the fourth one they tried too.
Because who was their guy? It was
Martin Birch.
Martin Birch.
Yeah, Martin Birch. Yeah. Who also did
everything.
The Black Sabbath album.
That's right.
From this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So that he was busy doing that album. He could have done this one.
Okay, so Paul gave it an A. We should probably grade it ourselves.
And we should mention the length. It's only a 37.
Yeah, it's like a Beatles album.
39-second
it's
album.
Short, yeah.
Short. It really is.
Probably their shortest album, I imagine. I haven't checked, but
I would bet it is. Yeah,
probably.
I would imagine Killers is probably next.
Yeah,
does more songs.
Yeah,
but Killers is...
Yeah. So I will start. I'll give a B plus.
Okay.
B plus, only because like of the Maiden albums, it's, you know, I mean, I'm not counting the X Factor and the Blaze Bailey albums, but
I didn't think about this. I usually try to figure out a grade before we come on. I just figured I would have an answer. I think B plus is. I think that's fair.
I'm going A. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. I think A also.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's hard when you compare it to the other stuff because the other stuff's better, but it's still for what it is, especially in 1980.
It is so
exactly. If I was a teenager in 1980 and all things being equal, A, but I know what's to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but just, I mean, what's to come is all going to be straight A's, you know, across.
Yeah.
So I mean,
not necessarily.
Well, until we get into the 90s.
No prayer for the dying.
Yeah.
I mean, musicianship wise, in 1980, this is so much. I mean, look at the Judas Priest album we just talked about. I mean, compare the Priest album to this, it's like Priest is like kindergartners compared to this.
What did I give that? I hope that wasn't too high.
I think you gave it like a
I think we said like C minus. Yeah.
Yeah. And like those two bands are supposedly, you know, like those are the two big British.
Are we supposed to grade on a curve for the year?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying like it stands above a lot of stuff from that year, and
maybe we should be grading on the curve for the year because then it's an A easy.
I don't want to overthink.
Maybe that's what
I
don't know.
Like the way I feel about the album right now, listening to it, it's a B plus.
Yeah,
like how you look at it in your whole
and the
totalitarianism.
It's just like
of the Iron Maiden, the whole catalog of probably wouldn't be an A, but like just in terms of 1980, it's an A.
Tim, I said it.
I don't.
All right, Chris.
Except for two albums, but yeah.
I'd have to say A. I mean, it's hard to criticize it and give it anything less. I mean, if you want to say production, you know, it doesn't compare to it's 1980, like you said, a first album. It doesn't matter what the production is like. These songs are just classic. They've stood the test of time for a debut album. I love the energy, the rawness, even the song that they've never played, I think, after Strange World. It's just all like, I don't listen to it often, but that doesn't mean I don't love it. I mean, it's just too classic. It has to be an A for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good.
What do you guys think about it? How does this stand up to
Killers?
No, the other 1980 album
British Steel?
Talked about recently. Not
Black Sabbath?
British Steel. Yeah. With
Dio.
Oh, it's better than that.
I can't remember the name of the album.
Ozzy?
A lot better.
No.
Mob Rules, or is it?
Oh no, it's one before that. Heaven and Hell.
Heaven and Hell. Yeah,
Heaven and Hell.
Oh,
yeah. That's what I was trying to think of. How do we compare these two albums? I think that's a good comparison, right?
This is better than Heaven and Hell.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I like Maiden a bunch better than Sabbath.
But I think I gave Heaven and Hell a better grade. Didn't I? I think I gave that an A.
Heaven and Hell has Heaven and Hell on it, though.
Well, yeah.
And Neon Nights.
Yeah.
Like, Heaven and Hell is like the ultimate metal song. It's just...
It's the ultimate Ronnie James Dio song.
It's so...
He basically used that for every 3 songs he wrote after that.
I know, but I mean, that song for me is just like... Well, that's a little bit cheesy. I think Heaven and Hell is more like...
It's the same song.
It's the same riff.
I know, but
it's the same
for me,
riff.
it's more vague and like, I don't know, say like spiritual, but just, Heaven and Hell.
Well,
it's not like holy diver and swords and shields.
Right. This is where I'm like conflicted because I feel like I graded Heaven and Hell better than I graded this, but I like this album more. So it's like
you're probably comparing the Sabbath stuff with Dio
Sabbath.
and you're going, well, this was so much better than this other stuff. The later Sabbath stuff.
I definitely listened to this album at least 100 times more than the Sabbath album.
But you're probably also comparing Maiden to Maiden.
I know, it's hard.
So it's hard.
This is why the American education system is bullshit.
What do you want to give it, like a number?
No objectivity to this at all.
This gets a 5.
Like 93.56.
If you have a student, that you know is going to be good at this, and they let you down, you're like, oh, it's a C. But if somebody you're like, oh, they're kind of maybe stupid, but it's great. They did a great job. You get an A.
That's what I did with Cowboys from Hell. I didn't give it an A because I knew there was more stuff that was coming along that was so much better. So it was hard to do.
All right. Well, our grades actually, unlike grades in school, don't matter at all.
Exactly.
There's that.
Or kind of
heavy metal podcast, and we're talking about grading albums. Don't overthink it too much. It's not that big a deal.
Fuck it, I'm giving it an A.
Yay!
Well, you suck. How dare you take your grade back?
There it is.
No, B+.
A-. Is that a thing?
We gotta ruin everything.
Sure. I did ruin everything. All right. Well, look. Next episode, we're going to talk more Maiden. So I'm gonna close this one out for now. But thank you for joining us, Chris. Always great to have you. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Energy, aggression, power. To sum it up, it's a vulgar display of power.
We say things to people that mean something. I mean, in our own little way.
Ricky, quick, will you try to sing my tunnels?
The human element of making music is what's most important. Singing into a microphone and learning to play an instrument, that's the most important thing.
Look out!